Welcome back home, chosen soul of light. The reason you feel so alone right now is not because you have been forgotten. It is because you are being hidden. And there is a massive difference between being abandoned and being concealed for a purpose. What you are experiencing is not isolation. It is incubation. And incubation always happens in secret before it produces something that everyone can see. If that statement just shifted something in your spirit, go ahead and type the word incubation in the comments. Because what I am about to explain is going to completely reframe the loneliest season of your life. You have been wondering why everyone else seems to be surrounded by community while you are sitting in silence. Why others have teams and you are working alone. Why their lives look full while yours feels empty. And somewhere in that wondering, you started to believe that something is wrong with you. That you did something to deserve this isolation. That God is punishing you by keeping you separate. Let me break that lie right now. Isolation is not always rejection. Sometimes it is selection. Heaven does not separate you from everyone because you are unworthy. It separates you from everyone because what is being formed in you is too valuable to be influenced by the wrong voices. You are not being punished. You are being protected. And the protection feels uncomfortable because you were not designed for isolation. You were designed for connection. But sometimes, temporary separation is required for permanent transformation. Let me paint a picture that will make this clear. A caterpillar does not become a butterfly in front of an audience. It becomes a butterfly in a cocoon, alone, hidden, unobserved. And during that process, if you were to cut open the cocoon to check on its progress, you would kill it. The isolation is not optional. It is essential. The butterfly cannot form while the caterpillar is still connected to its old environment. It has to disconnect completely. It has to be alone. It has to go through a process that nobody else can witness or assist with. But here is what most people do not know about the cocoon stage. Inside that cocoon, the caterpillar does not just grow wings, it completely dissolves. Its entire body breaks down into a liquid substance. Everything it was becomes nothing, and from that nothing, something entirely new is formed. The butterfly does not evolve from the caterpillar. It is recreated from the remnants of what the caterpillar used to be. That is what is happening to you right now. You are not just being improved, you are being completely reconstructed. Your old identity is dissolving. Your old patterns are breaking down. Your old ways of thinking, responding, and operating are liquefying so that something entirely new can be formed. And that process feels like death, because in many ways it is the old you is dying so that the new you can live. This is why the isolation has been so intense. You cannot be reconstructed while you are still operating in old systems. You cannot be remade while you are still maintaining old identities. The breakdown had to be complete. The dissolution had to be total. And now, in this liquid state, where you feel like you have no form, no structure, no identity, heaven is creating something that has never existed before. A version of you that is entirely original. You are in the cocoon right now. And I know it feels dark. I know it feels lonely. I know it feels like nothing is happening. But what you cannot see is that everything is happening. You are not stagnant. You are transforming. And transformation does not happen on a stage. It happens in secret. Hit that like button if you have ever felt completely alone, even though you are surrounded by people, because loneliness is not about the number of people around you. It is about whether those people understand the season you are in. Here, is what most people do not realize. There are seasons where God will deliberately disconnect you from everyone who used to have access to you. Friends stop calling. Invitations stop coming. Conversations feel forced. Relationships that used to be easy suddenly feel exhausting. And you think something is wrong with you. You think you did something to push people away. But what if God is the one creating the distance? What if the disconnection is not rejection but redirection? When God is preparing you for something significant, He cannot do it while you are still plugged into systems, relationships, and environments that are designed for who you used to be. He has to unplug you. He has to isolate you. He has to strip away the noise so that you can hear His voice clearly. And that process is painful because you are wired for connection. You are wired for community. But sometimes community becomes a distraction. Sometimes community becomes an echo chamber that reinforces old patterns instead of creating space for new ones. You are not being removed from people because you are a problem. You are being removed from people because you are becoming a solution. And solutions are not formed in crowds. They are formed in quiet, in stillness, in the kind of silence that makes you confront everything you have been avoiding. That silence is not empty. It is full of revelation, full of transformation, full of the kind of growth that only happens when there is no one around to applaud or criticize. Let me talk about something that nobody warns you about. There is a kind of loneliness that comes when you outgrow your current circle, but have not yet found your next one. You do not fit where you used to fit, but you have not arrived where you are going. So you are suspended in between, not here, not there, just alone. And that in-between space is one of the most uncomfortable places you will ever occupy. But it is also one of the most important. That in-between space is where identity shifts. It is where clarity forms. It is where you stop performing for people and start becoming who you actually are. As long as you are surrounded by people who knew the old version of you, you will keep defaulting to old behaviors to keep them comfortable. But when those people are removed, even temporarily, you finally have the space to explore who you are without their expectations shaping you. Comment the number 777 if you are in that in-between space right now, if you feel like you do not belong anywhere, but you know you are being prepared for something. Let me explain what is happening beneath the surface. When a tree is planted, the first year it does not grow upward, it grows downward. All of its energy goes into developing a root system that nobody can see. To someone watching from the outside, it looks like nothing is happening. The tree looks the same size. There is no visible progress. But underground, something critical is taking place. Roots are spreading, depth is being established, and that depth will determine how high the tree can eventually grow. Think about the largest trees in the world: redwoods, sequoias, trees that stand hundreds of feet tall and live for thousands of years. Their root systems are massive. They go deep and they go wide, and those roots were not developed in a few months. They were developed over years, sometimes decades of invisible growth. Nobody celebrated those roots. Nobody applauded the underground work. But without those roots, the height would be impossible. You are in the root phase. Everyone else seems to be growing upward, producing fruit, getting taller, becoming visible. Meanwhile, you feel stuck at the same height you have been for years. But what they cannot see is what is happening beneath the surface. You are going deep, and the deeper your roots, the taller your tree will eventually stand. The stronger your foundation, the greater the weight you will be able to carry. You are not delayed. You are being developed at a level most people will never experience because they were too impatient to stay underground. Here is what happens when you try to grow upward too quickly without establishing roots. First, you become unstable. The first storm that comes, the first strong wind, the first heavy rain, you topple. You cannot sustain the weight of the fruit you are producing because you have no depth to draw from. You look impressive for a season, but you do not last. Heaven is not interested in making you look impressive for a season. Heaven is interested in making you unshakable for a lifetime. That is why this process cannot be rushed. That is why the isolation has lasted as long as it has. You are not just being prepared for a moment. You are being prepared for a movement, and movements require people who cannot be easily shaken, easily swayed, or easily uprooted. The only way to become that kind of person is to spend time going deep when everyone else is focused on going high. Heaven does not rush this process. If you grow upward too quickly without growing downward first, you will eventually topple. You will eventually collapse under the weight of what you are carrying. So God, in His wisdom, keeps you hidden, keeps you low, keeps you out of sight, not because you are not ready to be seen, but because what you are being prepared to carry requires a foundation that can only be built in isolation. Here is the hard truth. You cannot develop that foundation while maintaining all your old connections. Some of the people you are grieving were holding you at a level you have already outgrown. They were not bad people. They were just seasonal people. And when their season ended, you were supposed to release them. But instead, you held on. You forced connection where there was no longer alignment, and that forced connection kept you from fully stepping into the isolation that would have accelerated your growth. Let me be specific. There are people in your life right now who are comfortable with the version of you they know, but they are not prepared for the version of you that is emerging. And if you stay connected to them, you will shrink yourself to keep them comfortable. You will dim your light to avoid outshining them. You will limit your growth to maintain the relationship. And that is not love. That is limitation disguised as loyalty. Think about this. Some people were only meant to walk with you for a chapter, not the whole book. They were assigned to teach you something, to expose something, or to prepare you for something. But once that assignment was complete, the relationship was supposed to transition, not necessarily end with conflict, but shift in proximity and priority. You were supposed to honor what was without forcing what is no longer meant to be. But because we have been taught that loyalty means forever, we hold on to relationships long past their expiration date. We force friendships that have run their course. We maintain connections that no longer serve mutual growth. And in doing so, we block the very isolation that heaven is trying to use to transform us. We fill our lives with voices that drown out the one voice we need to hear most clearly. We surround ourselves with people who keep us tethered to who we were instead of propelling us toward who we are becoming. God is removing people not to hurt you, but to free you from the need to explain yourself, to free you from the pressure to stay small, to free you from the exhausting work of managing other people's insecurities while neglecting your own growth. The isolation is not punishment. It is permission to grow without apology, permission to change without explanation, permission to become without limitation. And here is what you need to understand. The people who leave during your transformation were never meant to see your destination. They were assigned to your preparation, not your manifestation. Their exit is not evidence of your failure. It is evidence of your evolution. You have outgrown the space they occupy, and they have made room for people who are aligned with where you are going, not where you have been. Share where you are watching from. Drop your city or country in the comments. Let me know where this word is landing right now, because what God is doing in you is not just for you. It is for everyone who will benefit from who you become. Let me address the fear that is sitting in your chest. You are afraid that if you fully embrace this isolation, you will lose everyone. You are afraid that if you keep growing, you will end up completely alone. And maybe that fear is valid. Maybe you will lose people. But here is the question you need to ask yourself. Is it better to keep people and lose yourself, or to lose people and find yourself? Because you cannot do both. You cannot stay who you were and become who you are meant to be at the same time. The people who are meant to be in your next season will not be intimidated by your growth. They will be inspired by it. They will not need you to shrink. They will celebrate your expansion. But you will never meet those people if you are still clinging to the ones who are threatened by your transformation. Release is required before reception. You have to let go of what was before you can receive what is. Now, let me talk about what is being formed in you during this hidden season. You think you are just surviving. You think you are just getting through, but heaven sees it differently. You are being purified. Everything that is not essential is being burned away. Every insecurity, every false identity, every need for external validation. The isolation is stripping you down to your core so that what remains is authentic, unshakable, and powerful. This purification process is not gentle. It is intense. It is invasive. It reaches into places you did not even know needed to be addressed. Old wounds you thought you had dealt with resurface. Patterns you thought you had broken reappear. Fears you thought you had conquered come back stronger. And in those moments, you wonder if you are regressing. You wonder if all the work you did was pointless. You wonder if you are actually getting worse instead of better. But what is actually happening is this. Heaven is not just dealing with surface issues. Heaven is going to the root. You can spend years managing symptoms, adjusting behaviors, and controlling reactions. But until you address the core issue, the thing that feeds all the other things, you will keep repeating the same cycles in different contexts. The isolation gives heaven uninterrupted access to those core issues. And it hurts, because core issues are connected to identity. And when your identity shifts, everything shifts. Let me give you an example. You might have spent years deriving your worth from being needed. You became the person everyone called when they had a problem. The one who always showed up. The one who never said no, and you felt valuable because you were useful. But that is not authentic worth. That is conditional worth. And heaven cannot build your future on conditional worth, because the moment the conditions change, your foundation crumbles. So what does heaven do? It removes the people who needed you. It creates space where you are no longer the go-to person. It puts you in a season where nobody is calling, nobody is asking, nobody is depending on you. And in that silence, you are forced to confront the question you have been avoiding. Who am I when I am not needed? What is my worth when I am not useful? And that question is terrifying, because for so long, your entire identity was wrapped up in being indispensable. But once you answer that question from a place of truth, instead of performance, something shifts. You realize that your worth is not tied to your productivity. Your value is not determined by your usefulness. You matter because you exist, not because of what you do. And that revelation, that core shift in identity, changes everything. You stop people pleasing. You stop overextending. You stop saying yes when you mean no, because you are no longer performing for worth. You already have it. That is what the isolation does. It strips away every false source of identity until you are left with nothing but truth. And truth, even when it is painful, is the only foundation strong enough to build a future on. When you finally emerge from this season, and you will emerge, you will not need to announce yourself. You will not need to convince anyone of your value. You will not need to defend your decisions or explain your choices. Your presence will communicate what your words used to have to work so hard to express. That is the result of incubation. That is what happens when you allow the process to complete instead of rushing out of the cocoon prematurely. I need you to hear this clearly. The reason your isolation has lasted so long is because what is being formed in you is significant. Small things develop quickly, big things take time. If this season has felt longer than you expected, it is because what you are carrying is greater than you imagined. Do not resent the weight, honor it, because the weight is proof of the weight. Before I go further, if this message is speaking directly to where you are, go ahead and subscribe. Because this is not random content, this is targeted truth, and staying connected to the frequency of this message will keep you aligned with what is unfolding. Let me give you some practical signs that your incubation season is coming to an end. First, you will start to feel restless, not anxious. Restless, like something inside you is ready to move, but you do not know where yet. That restlessness is not a problem. It is preparation. Your spirit is sensing that the season is about to shift, and it is getting ready. Second, you will start to lose interest in things that used to consume your attention. Drama that used to pull you in will suddenly feel irrelevant. Conversations that used to engage you will feel draining. People you used to prioritize will feel like a burden. That is not you being cold. That is you outgrowing what no longer serves your next level. Third, you will notice an increase in clarity. Decisions that used to paralyze you will become obvious. Paths that used to confuse you will become clear. You will start to know things without knowing how you know them. That is discernment activating. That is the result of spending time alone with God instead of being drowned out by everyone else's opinions. Fourth, you will feel a pull toward something new, a new direction, a new opportunity, a new relationship, a new location. And even though it might not make logical sense, it will make spiritual sense. Do not ignore that pull. That is the door opening. That is heaven saying the incubation is complete and it is time to emerge. Here is something critical. When it is time to emerge, do not hesitate. Do not second guess. Do not look for permission from people who were not in the cocoon with you. They will not understand your readiness because they did not witness your process. Move when heaven says move, and trust that the same God who kept you hidden knows when to reveal you. Now let me talk about what happens when you finally emerge. You are going to be different. And that difference is going to make some people uncomfortable. They are going to expect the old version of you. They are going to try to relate to you the way they used to. And when that does not work, they are going to accuse you of changing, and you are going to have to be okay with that accusation, because yes, you did change. That was the whole point. Do not apologize for your transformation. Do not shrink back to make others comfortable. Do not revert to old patterns just to maintain old relationships. You did not go through all of that to come out the same. You went through it to come out upgraded. And upgraded versions do not fit in old spaces. Here is what is going to happen. People are going to test you. They are going to try to pull you back into old dynamics, to see if you have really changed or if you are just pretending. They are going to push your boundaries to see if you will cave like you used to. They are going to create drama to see if you will engage like you used to. And every single one of those moments is a test, not from them, from heaven, to see if you will honor the work that was done in isolation, or if you will abandon it to fit back in. Do not fail that test. Stand firm. Hold your boundaries. Do not engage with chaos just because it is familiar. Do not sacrifice your peace just to keep the peace with people who do not value what you carry. You are not the same. And the moment you start acting like you are, you dishonor the process and delay the manifestation. Some of the people who knew you before will not recognize you now, and that is okay. You are not here to be recognized. You are here to be obedient. You are not here to fit in. You are here to stand out, and standing out is only possible for people who were willing to be set apart. Let me address those of you who are afraid you have wasted time in isolation. You look at the years you spent alone, and you wonder if you missed opportunities. You see people who started later than you but seem further ahead, and you question whether the isolation was really necessary or if you just made poor decisions that led to loneliness. Let me settle that doubt. Nothing was wasted. Every moment you spent alone was an investment. Every tear you cried in private was watering seeds that are about to sprout. Every night you sat in silence was training for the kind of peace you will need when things get loud. You did not lose time. You gained depth, and depth always trumps speed. Drop a fire emoji in the comments if you are ready to emerge from this season stronger than you have ever been. Let me give you a warning about what is coming. When you emerge, you are going to be tempted to overcompensate for the isolation by saying yes to everything. Every invitation, every opportunity, every relationship. Do not do that. Just because the door is open does not mean you are supposed to walk through it. Just because someone is interested does not mean they are aligned. You did not spend all that time developing discernment just to ignore it the moment you get access. Be selective, be intentional, be protective of the peace you found in isolation. Not everyone deserves access to the new version of you. Not every opportunity is aligned with your assignment. Move strategically, not desperately. You are not making up for lost time. You are stewarding the time you were given. Here is what is about to happen in the next few weeks and months. You are going to start seeing confirmations, small signs that what you have been sensing is real. A conversation that opens a door, a connection that appears out of nowhere, a resource that becomes available, a clarity that suddenly makes everything make sense. These are not coincidences. These are confirmations that the incubation season is completing and the emergent season is beginning. When you see those signs, do not dismiss them, do not downplay them, do not rationalize them away. Receive them as evidence that heaven is moving, and let them build your faith for what is coming next. Because what is coming next is bigger than what you went through. The blessing is always proportional to the breaking, and you have been broken down to nothing so that you can be built up to everything. Let me close with this. The isolation you experienced was not an accident. It was an assignment. You were not randomly left alone. You were strategically positioned in a place where heaven could work on you without interference. And now, as that work nears completion, you are about to step into a version of your life that the old you could not have handled. The relationships coming are going to require emotional intelligence you did not have before. The opportunities coming are going to require discernment you did not possess before. The influence coming is going to require character you did not carry before. All of that was developed in the dark. All of that was formed in isolation. All of that was built in the place where nobody was watching. You are not the same person who entered this season. You are stronger, wiser, clearer, more grounded, more focused, and more powerful. The caterpillar is gone. The butterfly is emerging. And when you finally spread your wings, everyone who questioned why you were hidden for so long is going to understand. They are going to see what heaven was building. They are going to witness what isolation produced. And they are going to realize that what looked like loneliness was actually preparation for greatness. Take a deep breath. Feel the shift. Sense the change. You are not in the cocoon anymore. You are at the edge of emergence. And what comes next is going to prove that every lonely night, every silent day, every isolated moment was worth it. You were not forgotten. You were being formed. And now it is time to fly. If this word strengthened you, let me know. Comment emerged, drop an Amen, or leave a testimony. Because your agreement with this truth accelerates your breakthrough. And your breakthrough is not coming. It is here. You are standing at the threshold. The door is opening. The season is shifting. And the same God who kept you hidden is about to reveal you. Walk forward with boldness. Walk forward with confidence. And walk forward knowing that everything you need for this next season was deposited in you during the last one. The isolation was not your end. It was your beginning. And what is beginning now is going to be so undeniable, so powerful, so transformative that everyone will know heaven was involved. This is your moment. This is your time. Step into it fully. You have been prepared. You have been positioned. Now it is time to emerge. Go in power. The incubation is complete. The emergence is here. And what comes next will confirm everything you sensed during the silence. You are ready, you are equipped, and you are about to soar together. We rise toward the light.